Welcome back to episode 10 of Ria's streaming vlog. Last weekend, I turned 30. Wow. And I'm 10 full episodes in the vlog, and I figured I might do a retrospective on my 20s and the things that I've learned and the wisdom and experience I've gained along the way. Some of these lessons are streaming related, some of these are life lessons, and some of these are personal to just me. No sense dragging out the intro. I want the average view duration to go higher, so here we go. Number one, you're a girl, Rhea. All right, let's get that obvious baby blue, white, and pink one right out the gate, out of the bag. I wish I knew that I was trans at age 20. Sadly, I didn't, but that's okay. Lots of people don't figure it out until later in life. I try not to beat myself up over it too much, but I did have my suspicions prior to that until age 27 when I was forced to accept that consciously. It is totally okay to need time to figure yourself out for anybody who might have a similar regret. Number two, take some time to have some fun in your 20s. Oh, everybody's like, I hear a lot of advice like, I wish I hadn't drowned myself in debt. I wish I hadn't used my credit card and maxed it out. I wish I had saved a little bit more so I didn't have $100,000 in credit card debt. But I think that it would have been nice if I had been a little bit more adventurous, gone to some parties, hung out with more people, and not just be a total bookworm. I figure if I had done that, maybe I'd have a few more stories to tell, including some stuff for the stream and for this vlog. Number three, I wish that I had spent a little bit more time in undergraduate as opposed to breezing through it in just 2 years, taking 18 hours a semester. In particular, I really wish that I had done some internships. For as much as you might learn in school, a lot of that just really isn't all that applicable to real world after college jobs. And I went straight through graduate school to get my PhD and ultimately dropped out and didn't get my PhD. So I ended up in this position where I was both overeducated but also underqualified by reason of not having enough experience. So yeah, that was a kind of a regret, especially given that I was going through undergraduate right at the height of the Great Recession of 2008. Remember that? Oh, yeah, I'm getting old. At least I'm getting older. Number four, you probably, almost certainly, are not the hotshot that you thought you were at age 20. There's a meme I've seen. I think it was an XKCD cartoon. Starting off an undergraduate, you're like, I'm going to win a Nobel Prize. And by the time you get to graduate school, you're in your first year and you're like, I'd like to become an expert in my discipline. And you get to about the second or third year and like, I'd like to graduate. And I even didn't. Yep. PhD dropout right here. But that's okay. Things have more or less worked out. Number five, some people are going to tell you, do what you love to do for work and you'll never work in a day in your life. Thing is, that's really kind of not achievable for most people. Most people aren't going to make a living sitting on a couch, watching TV, eating ice cream while lying in bed in their pajamas. Wait, that's not your all's idea of what you love? But I wish I could do full time. Instead, do what you can tolerate doing and spend the rest of your free time with your hobbies and passions instead. Number six, if you can, try to find a way to make some money with your passions. But be very careful about turning your passions into a full time career. Once you turn your hobby into a business, you have to start worrying about little things like taxes and marketing, accounting, legal issues, and all that sort of not very much fun stuff. But hey, if you can make a full-time career out of your hobby or your passion, wonderful. Just be aware that it's going to be a lot of work and you might not have as much fun as you would like. Number seven, this is going to be a content warning for drug use and mental health. So if you are sensitive to those sort of things, go ahead and skip to number eight. Meth and heroin, do not touch either one of them. I did not have to learn this one firsthand, but I work in an addiction recovery clinic, and most of the people that have severe addiction issues, usually one of those two. I can't because of my work, but I always tell my friends if you want to smoke pot or try psychedelics, go ahead, have at it, have fun, whatever. Just be safe. But those two, I tell them, no, no, not even once. Number eight, life's a marathon, not a sprint. Three big examples. Number one would be the weight loss. I actually lost about 110 pounds or so throughout my late 20s. Number two would be my transition. That's pretty obvious. And number three would be my content creation and Twitch stream. Every one of those three has been really slow, very much worth it, by the way, but oftentimes leads me to be like, progress is not going as quickly as I'd like it to be, and sometimes it seems like I'm backsliding. Number 9, underpromise and overdeliver. I think that the people who tell you give 100% in everything you do are schmucks. For your true passions, have at it. Devote your everything to it. But work, nah, give 70% effort, just enough to be a little bit better than the average. If your boss gives you a project that's like, hey, this should take 2 days, and you're like, nah, this will take like 2 hours, don't get it done in 2 hours, you idiot. You're just going to get more work and more expectations thrust upon you. Spend a day and 2 hours or so. You look like a hero, you got it done quickly, you get accolades, but you're not going to put yourself in a position where you're going to risk burning out and getting stressed over the long haul. Number 10. So, this one does imply a degree of privilege on my part, and I apologize for people who may not be in this position. If you have a job and a steady income, remember, you don't need the latest and greatest games, consoles, computers, cars, and so on and so forth, all those gizmos, gadgets, and doohickeys and shinies. I've gotten thousands of hours of entertainment out of some of my old games, like Legaia and Star Ocean 2. My car is 9 years old and still going strong, and I haven't had to make a car payment in the last half decade. There's a saying that the things that you own oftentimes will own you. Compound interest is super powerful, one of the most powerful forces in the universe, according to Albert Einstein. Make sure that's working for you, not against you. That's not a contradiction in number 2, by the way. Moderation in all things, including in moderation, as Ben Franklin said. Having some fun, awesome. Constantly buying things you don't need on credit, not so awesome. Number 11, you can have the best ideas in the world, but if you can't convey them, explain why they're good ideas, market them accordingly, find your audience and your niche, whatever the idea is, guess what? It's going to amount to a big fat pile of nothing. I hate it. I hate marketing. I hate advertising. But large multinational corporations in the business of making a lot of money, they're not in the business of losing money, but they still spend millions of dollars a year on advertising, research, SEO, and other marketing and similar expenses. If it didn't work, companies wouldn't do it. I wish it didn't. I hate ads as much as anybody else does, but they work. Number 12, a couple of family lessons now. Family is about more than just the ties of blood. I'm fortunate that I mostly get along with my relatives, but not everybody does. If your family is crappy, don't feel like you have to be with them because family. Unfortunately, lots of people are abusive or narcissistic, gaslighting, or otherwise just not very enjoyable people. Know how to be a broken record or a gray rock if you have to be around these folks, and don't be afraid to cut them off altogether. Number 13, if you're fortunate enough to be on good terms with your family and you're on good terms with your grandparents, try to spend some time with them. If you're turning 20 now, your grandparents are probably in their 70s or even their early 80s. And while discussions of morbidity are never fun to have, they might not have too much time left. I lost my first grandmother just a few weeks prior to turning 20. Spend some time with them. You and they will both thank you down the road. Number 14, you can't light yourself on fire to keep others warm, so make sure to practice self care. It's not sustainable to engage in martyrdom. It's great to help out your friends and family when you can, but only what you can comfortably give them in financial and emotional and otherwise support. There's a reason why flight attendants always tell you that cliche line, make sure you put on your own mask before you go about assisting others. So practice some self-care, enforce boundaries. There's a reason why I don't let speedrun marathons schedule me after 9 in the evening, because that is a part of my self-care. I know that I'm going to have to get up at 5 in the morning to go to work, so I want to make sure that I'm getting to sleep by 9:15 or 9:30. That's a boundary I set, I enforce for my own self-care. Number 15, when you get to 25 or 30 or maybe even just 21 or 22, you're going to look back at yourself now and you're going to think, wow, I'm a total moron. I'm a total fool. I'm acting like a dimwit. It's okay. That's a good thing. It means you're maturing as a person. It means you're growing. You're becoming wiser. If you're not having those thoughts in a few years, I'd be worried more so for that because that means you're not gaining that maturity and wisdom that should come with age. Number 16, motivation is wonderful, but it can waver and falter. Sometimes you just gotta get tasks done and you're not gonna be motivated. Sometimes you need discipline. With your taxes, for example, sometimes you just can't wait to find the motivation to get around to doing them. You just gotta have the discipline to do what you know that you need to do. Number 17, it's good to have ambitions and drive, but try not to set your expectations overly high. One of the easiest ways to have a feel bad is to set really lofty goals and expectations and then They don't end up happening. I actually had that happen just this past weekend. I had a birthday streamathon, and the viewership numbers and everything were basically just the same as any other weekend stream that I would have. So, yeah, I got some high expectations, and then I got let down and felt disappointed because of it. Try not to let that happen to you. I know it's hard. I know it's part of human nature to get your high hopes up, but try not to. Number 18, your body will start to break down and you won't be quite as capable as you are when you're 20 or 21. Though you're probably not going to be like, my back the day you turn 30. At least not I'm not. But you won't be able to continually abuse your body. Eventually it will come back to bite you. As an extreme and somewhat morbid example of this, there's the so called Forever 27 club of celebrities who passed away at 27 due to drug abuse and other abusing of their body, and it came back and charged them the ultimate price. Number 19, it's good to have life plans, but expect them to be upended too. Some of the things aren't always going to work out the way that you planned them. Someone with autism, that's kind of difficult for me. I like stability, I like routine, I like a certain degree of order and predictability, but life doesn't always work out the way that we want. Sometimes you gotta go with the flow, and sometimes you can exert that little bit of influence to just push the flow of time and the world just ever so slightly in a more beneficial, easier direction for you. And number 20, whatever you think to do with your life, your passions, your hobbies, whatever those may be, there's almost certainly somebody out there who's doing it better. The only thing that nobody can do better than you is to be you. It's a lesson that I'm just now learning now as I'm trying to spend a lot of time into improving my YouTube and my Twitch content. Because it always seems like there's always somebody more entertaining who has higher production quality, better knowledge of SEO and the YouTube algorithm, started earlier, had a better grasp of how to make thumbnails and so on and so forth. But only I can truly be me, and I just now got to figure out who me is. That's something I wish that I knew when I turned 30 too. So there we have it. 20 things I wish I knew when I was 20 from somebody who just turned 30. I hope you found this video informative, interesting, and or entertaining. And if you do, please smash that like button to make Al Gore's rhythm happy. I mean the algorithm happy. And until next time, stay hydrated, my friends.